Okay. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Actually, I'm thinking, no, we're almost complete. There's still one or two people that are missing. Okay, so did I say good morning? Yes, I said good morning. All right, so today we are on day 20. On day 20, and we just went through a wonderful sharing in the group of what's been going on and like what they have integrated and what's been happening. And one of the things I actually want to share that just came up, or that I want to have on the recording, is two things actually. Is that the abundance, what is actually a really nice idea is to write down all of the things that are already abundant in your life. So if you have the time and to do it, it's not an official homework, let's say, but it is something that somebody in the group just mentioned that they did. And I just want to share that because I think it's a really nice thing to do. And remember to focus on, that's the second thing I want to share because that also just came up. Remember to focus on how you feel, not what you're doing, right? Like it's really all about how does it make you feel. And when it comes to how it makes us feel, the topic for today is a topic that is holding all of us back sometimes, and that I know pretty much everybody in this group is suffering from at some point in their life. And I did for a very, very, very long time. And it is something that takes a lot of our energy, that is extremely, it's just something where we mean well, and we mean well, and it's connected with something else. And that topic is called perfectionism. And the perfectionism is also linked to one other thing, which is overgiving. So perfectionism and overgiving and saying no is very closely related, very, very closely related. So what happens is that we are, as women, or mainly as women, there are a lot of men that do this as well, we have the feeling that we need to overgive and do a lot, right? Like we need to overperform, we need to, be a perfect, how do they say, a perfect housewife, a perfect mom, a perfect, perfect in our job, a perfect friend, a perfect everything else. So we end up overgiving and overgiving and overgiving and overgiving and overgiving, and having people step across our boundaries all the time as well. So not being able to say no, because we feel that if we say no, we are not giving somebody something what they need, or basically in the most like basic forms, it's you're taking a love away from somebody, right? Like it's like, okay, I'm not giving you love. That's why it's so hard for us to say no, because we feel like we are rejecting that other person. Now, perfectionism has so many ways to show itself, And typically you will be a perfectionist in some areas and not so much in others. This is something that's interesting. That's why you might think of a friend that, they're very perfectionist in their work, like everything there is perfect, but if you visit their home, it's a mess. And that's because their brain is not able to be perfect in all areas of life. It's impossible. If we need to be perfect in all areas of life, then we go into burnout immediately, because we never stop working. We never stop doing anything. Like we will not stop until the last corner of our house is clean, until, the kids the kids are perfect. Like it's just not going to happen, right? So this is where you will see, and I would like you to just take a second to think about, okay, what are some of the areas in my life where I'm either perfectionist and or overgiving? And what are the areas in my life where I need to compensate in order to, balance that out a bit? Because otherwise I would go bananas. So I'm just going to give you like 30 seconds to a minute. I need to put a timer on because otherwise I will just continue talking. All right. Do each of you have your topic? Just not. Okay, perfect. Okay, great. So from this topic, I just want you to think quickly about, like, what are some of the situations where you have been overgiving or being perfectionists? Like, if you have like 1 or 2 situations for each area, that's enough. It doesn't need to be the full thing.
Sorry, Nadia, I was doing something. I was being perfectionist and multitasking, because now I'm by my desk. And what was the exercise? What am I supposed to do?
So the first one or the second one? Did you do the first one?
No.
Okay. So the first one is, if you think about it, like, you have different areas in your life, right? Like your mom, your businesswoman, your wife, your right? We've got different roles. And I want you to think about what are the areas where you are like really trying extremely hard, and where it's like, there I'm being a perfectionist. And then what are the areas that, as a consequence out of being a perfectionist or overgiving in this area, what is the area where that is suffering under it? Like I said before, it can be that you want to be perfect in your job, but then, you're a bit messy at home, for example, right? Like, these can be just as an example, but it can be anything. Okay, perfect. And now the second one is to think of the second exercise is to think of some examples in this regard. So if you say, okay, I'm perfect in, I'm truly trying to be perfect at work, can you think of some examples where you really tried to be perfect or where you were overgiving? Okay, so I'm going to share a couple of things. And the thing with perfectionism is that sometimes always, we don't necessarily think about why we are doing something or why we are so perfectionist. We just do it. And one of my favorite stories of an absolute failure when it comes to perfectionism, and where I really learned to let it go, was when, so I went to speak in South Africa. And it was the first time I was going to speak, and I was going to speak in front of a big stage. And I prepared the speech forever and ever and ever. And I had also been working on my website for a long time. Okay. And remember, this was the time that I was still working at Uber. So it wasn't like I could put this website on officially. It was like, I had to keep that website secret. And so my speech was ready, I was prepared, but my website was not. There were some things that for me were still missing. Like, it wasn't perfect, right? And in hindsight, it was some ridiculous things. Like, it was, I don't know, there was a paragraph missing somewhere, or the picture wasn't the one. I wanted to add more pictures. So I really went all the way to make the things perfect. And so I was up until 5 a.m. in the morning on the day of my speech in order to finish this website. And some of you already know the story. And so until 5 a.m. I was up until the website was perfect. Then I slept a couple of hours. Then I got up and then I went there. I participated a little bit, but I was exhausted. I was really tired, and thank God for adrenaline, because the adrenaline pushed me so much that for my stage performance, so the time I was on stage, you didn't see I was tired. I didn't have, like, it was perfect. So that went extremely well. But when the speech was finished, I had a slide up on the wall that said, you can contact me through these channels. So I put Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and my website. And after the speech, people started coming to me, and then they said, yeah, we would love to connect with you, but we can't find you on Facebook. I said, what? I said, yeah. So turns out that I was up until 5 a.m. doing the perfect website, which I think out of all of the options of people connecting with me, the website was the least one, because I checked the frequency afterwards to see how many people had visited the website. And it was like, I don't know, out of hundreds and hundreds of people that were in the audience, I think it was like 10, 15, 20. It wasn't that many people that visited the website compared to the amount of people that came up to me and spoke to me. And I had forgotten to put my Facebook profile on public so that people could find me. So I had my Facebook profile in a way that it was hidden. So that means people could only find me if they had at least one friend in common. So that was something where I was like, okay, so let me get this straight. I was up until 5 a.m. to put up my website, to make everything perfect. I wrecked my brain around this forever and ever and ever. And then I forgot to put the Facebook profile so that people could find me. This is not good, right? And what else happened was that, of course, I was then so tired from all this being up until 5 a.m. and then the speech and the thing, that I think at 3 or 4, I had to leave. Like, I was so tired, I was so exhausted that I had to go to bed. So that means all of the people that potentially wanted to connect with me, I couldn't connect with them because I was so tired. Like, I just couldn't. And yeah, so for me, that was one of the most powerful lessons when it comes to perfectionism, because we can spend so much time on making something perfect. And the question you need to ask yourself, honestly, is why? Why is this, not in general, why am I perfectionist, but why is this specifically what I'm being so perfectionist about? Why is this so important? Usually I see it with a lot of business owners when they start out, right? When they start out, then it's really important for them. Like, it needs to be with a big bang and it needs to be perfect. And like the first video, the first website, the first post, the first thing, like it needs to be huge. And it needs to be like this well thought through post, and they do take forever to do their video and I don't know what, right? And just because it feels there's such a big pressure, because we're so scared, what are people going to think about us? That is the main driver. The main driver is, what are other people going to think about us? Instead of just like starting to do this in a comfortable way and try and easing into it, you know, and being a bit more like, hey, I'm just up to this, and hey, I'm just up to that. We are so under pressure of what are people going to think of us. And I can tell you, even if you spend days and days and days and days and days on the perfect website, you are still going to think it's not good enough. And people will either love it. You will always have people that will love your website, and you will always have people that will still find, you know, the teeny tiniest spelling mistake or typo on your website. You will always have that, no matter how many times you go over it, no matter how many people go over it. It doesn't matter. It will always be the case, always. So this is something where we need to let it go. We need to let go of our perfectionism, and we need to let go of, 80% is good enough. So this is something that I started integrating for myself, is 80% is still good enough. It doesn't have to be all the way. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I can still, it's always work in progress. Sorry, I can always improve the things. I can always still make it better. That's why I launched my website, and I'm still updating things. And as new ideas come in, I'm updating it. I started just with a website. Then I started doing landing pages on the website with integrated payment systems and all the things, like the link you guys all signed up on. I just started doing that about, I think, half a year ago. So, or half a year, 3/4 of a year or something like that. So I didn't do that previously. So these were the things that step by step, I always did one more step. Like, first I started with doing landing pages, for example, to sell my programs. Then I started with, the landing page plus the payment button. And at the end of the day, what I figured out is it's so much about the energy, and it's not so much about, the perfect thing. People don't care for perfect. People want to feel the energy. People want to feel like they connect with you. People want to feel like this is why we're, bye Charlotte. This is why I want to work with this person or spend time with this person is because of the way you make them feel, not because of you're perfect and you have the perfect website, right? So, and we forget this sometimes, that it's not about the perfect picture, the perfect post, the perfect this, the perfect that, but it's work in progress, and it's always looking for improving and setting the intention of creating a super premium brand, setting the intention of always creating something bigger and more, but it doesn't mean it has to be perfect from the get-go. It gets to improve over time, consistently improving over time, making small steps every time. That is absolutely enough. Because otherwise we put ourselves in overdrive and we're like, oh my God, it's like, the project is just never going to finish. You're never going to get it off the ground. And this is the problem with when we're self-employed, especially when we are our own boss, our own CEO. There's nobody else that tells us there's a deadline of when we need to go live. So we keep on improving and pushing the deadline and pushing the deadline and pushing the deadline and pushing the deadline. And we're like, okay, in March, I'm going to start with XYZ project, or I'm going to start with, I don't know, offering my consulting services or coaching services or whatever it is. And then we push back because we're like, yeah, but my website is not perfect. So I shouldn't go out to potential clients yet, because if they ask for my website, I won't have one. I started doing the horse coaching without having any website anywhere. Like, I had a website, but it didn't have any horse coaching stuff on it. It just had me, my branding and marketing things, my business consulting. And I just started doing it. I just started offering it. I started inviting people to it. Nobody ever asked me about a website. My coach, who makes 24 million a year, made 24 million last year, didn't do that every year. She doesn't even have a website. She doesn't have a website. It's all about energy. She just grew her community through Facebook, through all the kind of things. This coach is Melanie Ann Layer is her name, if you want to look her up. Yeah, I can put her in the chat. I mentioned her a couple of times. I'll write it down for you. So that's the thing where we think we need to do things in a perfect way. We need to be, you know, perfect mom, perfect this, perfect that. But sometimes 80% is good enough. Like kids, I'm not a mom, so I cannot speak about, you know, being a mom, and much less about being a perfect mom. But kids, for them, mainly the important thing is how you make them feel, like, and doing experiences and having fun and the memories that you make with them. They're not going to care whether, you know, their cake was super uber duper perfect and you know, it was missing one Smartie on one side or not. No, they care that there was a cake. And that's the thing, because I see moms sometimes going like bananas for birthday parties. Like they have like balloon things that are like balloon installations that have like a theme party and things like, and I think that's amazing and I think that's great, but the amount of work and effort they put into it is insane sometimes, where I think like, my God, you slept like an hour in order to make this happen. Like, why would you do this? And then you're exhausted to spend time with your kid because you spend so much time planning the party and making the balloons perfect and making the cake perfect and making the little decoration perfect and all the things. It's like, why are you doing this? Are you doing this because you truly believe that this will make a difference and it will make your kid happy? Or are you doing this to impress the other moms and or say, ooh, look, oh, wow, we never had the balloons like this. That's amazing, right? So this is something where we need to look at, why are we being perfectionist? Is it something that's just really important to us and we want to take it to the next level and we want to keep improving? That's okay. But when it's something that doesn't even serve the purpose, like creating, I don't know what, and for your kid's birthday party that doesn't even appreciate it, maybe you shouldn't do that and overthink whether this is really necessary. So that's the one thing in terms of perfectionism. And in terms of overgiving, what happens is we overgive because we feel bad that we're not giving enough. It comes out of a feeling of guilt And it comes out of a feeling of not having a full cup ourselves. Like we want other people to give to us. That's why we overgive to other people as well. The thing is that we need to differentiate, and this is a lesson that I really learned last year, is when I give from full heart, full decision, and full energy. But I get to decide if I give and if I overgive. I don't let other people ask me for it, bully me into it. Like some people, they're quite persistent. They will ask you for things until you give it to them, because that's what they learned as a kid. If they were annoying long enough, mommy would buy them the Barbie. It's as simple as that, right? So that is why we overgive. We have a hard time saying no. But the thing is that we are able to say no in a very, very, very loving way. We already covered this in the boundary setting part, so I'm not going to repeat all of that. But what we need to differentiate is when we give from a full cup. So when our energy is full, then we are able to give. But then we decide how we give, to whom we give, in what way we give, right? Like all of these things are up to us. It's a bit like, you have a bucket of money that you want to give to charity. And you're like, I'm going to decide how I split this money and to whom I give it. And I'm going to do it in a way that feels amazing. And I'm going to do it in a way that, I'm going to give this to charities that light me up, and that where I see what is going to come out of it, and where I have the direct impact, and where they send me pictures of, hey, look, this is what we did with your money, right? So this makes us feel good because we're giving from a full place because we have the money. If we don't have the money, you shouldn't give to charity because it's a hard thing to do, or you can give a little bit, right? But if you have 1,000 euros on your bank account and you give 1,000 euros to charity, might not be the best idea. If you have 1,000 and you give 5, great, with the intention to give more every month, amazing, right? But the problem starts when our energy level is not a full cup. Like we have 1,000 of energy and we give 1,000 of energy to one person because they were the ones annoying us long enough in order to say, okay, I'm going to give you the cup. It's okay. I'm going to give you everything. Here you go. And then the cup is empty and we end up giving them some more. And this is when the trouble starts. So that is why when we give out of a full cup. We give out of a completely full cup because we are full of energy. We feel good. The cup is full and we're able to give out of this cup, but we choose who we give to. This is very important. So that is why when, for example, people ask you for things, you can say no in a fully loving way, setting your boundaries so that you still appreciate them, you still, all the things. One of the things I learned in the last year especially was I had a lot of people asking me for either free coaching or for somebody calling me. I had a lot of people asking me for free coaching or for more things, right? Like to include more things. And then I really thought about it and I was like, okay, so when is this okay for me and when is it not okay for me? And what I found is if I wanted to give it, like if in some programs, for example, I ended up adding an extra module and just adding that in for free because I thought it was a missing piece of information that still belonged there. So then I did an extra module and I did an extra hour for the entire group. But my boundary was where I said, when people ask me for individual favors, I did not do that. I think this may be the corona tracing thing. So I'm just going to pick up for a second. Otherwise they think I'm doing, okay, they already stopped, fine, whatever. Okay, so this is where we give from a completely full cup and we are, doing this in a way where it makes us feel good. If you feel you want to do this, you do this. If you don't feel you want to do this, you don't do this. It's as simple as that. You find another way. You find a way that you say, okay, you know what? I cannot do this for you, but there are 5 other people that can. You find another way for that person in order so you don't feel you're letting people down, right? Because this is the hard thing. We feel like we're letting people down, but we're not. Because at the end of the day, if you're giving out of the cup that's not full, at some point you're going to be depleted. And when we don't have full energy, it doesn't serve you, and then you cannot serve other people. It's as simple as that. Our energy is the most important good that we have, because out of energy comes our health, out of energy comes our possibility to earn money, out of energy comes, everything comes from energy. If our energy cup is empty, not a good thing. So that's why we really have to be so consistent with holding that energy in a way where it's, and holding it in terms of taking care of it, treating it like a little baby, a little child, like the most valuable, most precious thing that we have. Okay. All right. So there is going to be no homework out of this because I want you to continue on your 111 list. But if a lot of this applied to you, if you were sitting going in your head, yep, I do that. Yep, I do that. Yep, I did that. Yep, I did that too. Then the next time you're going into perfectionism, or you're going into the overgiving, I just want you to notice it. Just notice it, be aware of it, and stop yourself and think like, okay, time out. What are we going to do with this? What is going to end up with this? Okay. All right. Questions?
I had, I so remember the time, one time I had a reporting thing to the board, and I overdid it and overdid it and overdid it. And I sat almost to 3 o'clock or something in the morning. And the day after, I had a really, really cool event that I was nominated with a banquet and everything, and a thing that comes once in a lifetime usually. And I was so exhausted, and I didn't felt like the $1 million baby that I wanted to do to go there. So I canceled.
Oh,
so
no.
I canceled the most amazing thing for me, and that was for me, for God's sake, to do the reporting and sit to the board. And the board, they look at the reporting, like blah, 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 blah. So I spent a huge lot of time for what? Overdoing the perfectionist that is going to be amazing and perfect. So I was so exhausted the day after, so I missed that event. And that was, I think, the most hardest lesson for me. So I have done so many things to do the perfection, and I have nothing left for myself. I'm totally drained out. So everything that could bring the energy for me to grow, or to keep the energy. And I've really worked with these days, as you said the first day to me, how do you keep the energy, not looking for more energy. And it was like, oh my God, aha, that's the shit. I need to keep it and guard it with my life. And I haven't done that. I have given away, to everyone, everywhere, to the perfectionist and to my kids and my husband. I've done everything at home, it's been perfect, clean, blah, 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 blah. And my family, I'm like the runner for 100 meters. I'm always first out. And my family, oh, okay, they can't help because I've already run for 100 meters. I'm done. I'm at the finish line. So I haven't given them a chance to, help and deliver. I've always been too fast. And the perfectionist, it must be perfect in any way. And I've gone really, really better, but I'm working with it. So just the thing that you say that, when you feel it, stop. Don't go there. Time out. Time out myself.
Exactly. And another thing is what a lot of perfectionists do is they don't accept help from other people because they think the other people are not going to do it as perfect as they will, right?
Exactly.
So that's the other thing. So then you just have to think, okay, what are some of the things where really I can ask other people for help? And, even if they do it in their own way, and even if they, like when I became a manager, for example, the first time I had a team of 4 people, And I ended up doing all their work. So they left at 7 in the evening because for me, work-life balance was really important. I was like, okay, bye, and I was like, yeah, sure, give it to me. I'll finish it, and I was sitting until 1, 2, 3 a.m. in the morning for a month in order to finish their work, to make sure that our team performed. And at some point I was like, yeah, this is not working for me. We need to change something, right? This is not the point of being a manager, is that you take the work from your team. The point is your team, right?
Yes.
So that's the thing. It's also where, like I notice it, for example, with my partner, when he cooks, he's very much into cooking and he loves it and all the things. And I ask him if I can help him. He's like, no, I'm okay. And we women do that a lot as well. No, I'm okay. No, you don't need to help. No, it's okay. It's fine. All right. No, I've got it under control. Everything is perfect. It's like, just say freaking yes. Just say yes. Say, oh yeah, it would be amazing if you could, I don't know. And even if it's not the cooking, say, oh, if it would be amazing if in the meantime you could clean out the dishwasher.
Yeah. My oldest daughter, she's 23 now. We had a like this during her teenage period, because I thought that, my God, she's not doing, enough. But we had really, really good aha moment afterwards. She said, but it's never good enough. And she said, I'm not as fast as you are. For me, it takes time, but we had a lot of things that was really hard during that time. And I was, but you see, it's full of dishes. You see, for me, it's simple, but she works in another way.
Exactly.
So we had a really good one, and that I have a aha moment about. Okay, well, she needs to do it in her way, and I need to just, even if I don't think it's perfect, then I said, oh, perfect, you did it. Otherwise, I took the joy from her. She said, why should I do it? You're not satisfied anyway. So you just kill my motivation to do it.
Yeah.
So it's not, we're two losers. No one is, it's not a win-win situation.
Exactly. It's the thing also where, when you do something and then the person who asked you to do it does it again because it wasn't exactly the way they wanted. And you're like, why would you do this again? That doesn't make any sense, right? Like, then don't ask me to do it. Right? So this is something where we need to work on ourselves in order really to take that time out and say, okay, why am I doing this? Why is this important? Can I ask for help? Like, what's happening here? To just take a moment, breathe, and think about, why am I doing this? And is it giving or taking energy? That's the second part. Okay, but great observation. Thank you for sharing.
Yes, and the thing is that I was taking the energy from them. So it's instead I took the joy from her to do it. So it's an aha thing, and really be careful to think and stop up and take the own time out to think that, okay, that's the right way to do it or not?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Good, great. All right. Anybody else, any other questions or comments?
Well, I just would like to mention something that this actually relates a lot with the masculine energy, because the perfectionism has to do with control.
Yeah.
So then this is the over controlling, wanting to have things right, and this is another situation that we could find the balance, that we can work out that way. Yeah. And mostly because what are the consequences of not only for us but also on the others, when we behave that way. So it's also another thing to reflect on. It's interesting.
You're right. It's a lot of masculine energy. Doing is masculine energy. Controlling is masculine energy, and giving is also masculine energy, because remember, receiving is feminine energy. So that is why the combination of these is actually very masculine. And we think we're very feminine when we're over mothering, but it's not. It's masculine energy. It's over mothering, over giving.
Yeah, and that also has to do with receiving. Because when we are perfectionists, then we are not open to receive. So then the others, as Katri was saying, then at the end the others remain like, no, whatever I do anyway is not going to be enough. So then I better don't do. So then we are putting ourselves behind a wall, don't And we create a distance ourselves by doing that.
Yeah.
This is what I was talking about, the impact on others. The others will just take distance.
Yeah, very true. Very true. And it's even in like, it's just learning in small situations to accept help, ask, you know, like when people offer to you, like even if you're giving smallest things, you're giving a dinner party, the first thing people do, can I help you with something? No, it's okay. Just say, yes, it would be lovely if you can just put those 4 glasses on the table. Done. It's not like you're asking them to do manual labor for 5 hours. You can ask them for one little task. Like if you just practice that, like, yes, it would be lovely if you can put the flowers on the table, or you can, I don't know, put 4 glasses there, or if you could open the bottle of champagne because I'm really afraid I'm going to kill my lights, right? Like whatever it is, like small things, not big stuff. It's the small things that
Also,
open up. Right.
Also, I can relate a lot to what you're saying, Nadia, because my partner is like yours. I mean, once he's in the kitchen, he wants to do it all. He doesn't want me around. And I feel like I told him already, you know, it makes me feel weird. I want to help. So, but the thing is that he wants to do it because it's his moment of creativity and he wants to have everything under control. And, you know, everything, it's his activity. It's his gift to me, you know. And he wants to own it. But then what I say is, okay, then at least I'm gonna set the table, I'm gonna do things around. But what I try to convey to him as well is, it's not about you not doing it, but I want that we spend the time together, that we are doing this, is sharing. So then finding another way of seeing it, right? Also allowing the other people to be part of it. So it's not about you want to do the whole part, the whole thing. Is the other people also want to integrate, want to feel they belong to it, or that they did a small thing, even the small thing. Exactly. So giving others the possibility to show the best part of themselves as well to you, it's important. And this is also part of the be open to receive.
Absolutely.
Everything about you, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Definitely. Thank you, Bernice, for sharing. Anybody else before we close? No, everybody's nodding. Okay, good. Thank you so much for the session. Thank you so much for your energy. Tomorrow we're going to celebrate and bring your questions. If you can and would be willing to, I'd love to hear some feedback, like how did it go for you? How are you feeling now? I would love to hear it. And yeah, and I'm also gonna tell you a bit more about the options to continue. If there's some things that you want to do, like you could say, okay, I'd love to do this, or I'd love to do this. I'm going to tell you a couple of options tomorrow. So if you want to, you can. And yeah, I wish you a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous day. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay, ciao, ciao, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, bye-bye.